I know I'm late to the game on this, but I wanted to talk about a bunch of whiny, spoiled, elite college students walking out on Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech at Duke University.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Studio Jake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Thank you so much for joining me today on my vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member if you're watching on YouTube. You can send me super chats. You can do super stickers and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So do consider joining. I've got 4 tiers available. I would really appreciate it. If you don't want to support me through big tech, check out my locals page. The link is in the description. All right, it's true. All of it. A bunch of whiny, spoiled brats who think that they could make it in life because someone forgot to put extra avocado on their avocado toast, decided to stage a walkout of comedian Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech at Duke University. And see, this is another reason why I'm on board with saying things like colleges, not all colleges and university, there's certainly some good ones, but many of them, they're just scams. They ride on this, oh, we're Ivy League, so they can attract wealthy donors and whatnot, but then they fill their administration and professorships with a bunch of people who probably have never eaten a hot dog in their life, or if so, it was at some elite restaurant that did it for normie day, that kind of thing. Well, Duke University invited Jerry Seinfeld to deliver a commencement speech, and apparently his speech was really good. I haven't had a chance to listen to that yet, so I won't comment on that. But as he got up to deliver the speech, a bunch of weirdos who are supporting, that disreputable organization in Israel and Palestine, they decided to walk out with chants of free Palestine, free Palestine. So this is according to Not the Bee. Another day, another group of spoiled anti Israel losers crying like babies over something that hurt their feelings. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld, the GOAT stand up comedian and star of the GOAT sitcom, who is also Jewish and is vocally supportive of Israel, was the commencement speaker at Duke University on Sunday. And the anti Israel students at Duke did not like him being there. Some folks cheered, Free Palestine, but most of the folks who showed up just started booing the losers who walked out. Well done. Then the crowd started chanting for Jerry. What a pro. Jerry didn't even let the hecklers knock him off message. Seinfeld gave his speech as planned. Good for him. And listen, I love Seinfeld. I've watched Seinfeld and Friends through a couple of times. I don't want to say multiple, but a couple of times. And I've come to appreciate Seinfeld more than Friends. And I'll tell you why. I know this is a little bit of an aside. Friends is about a group of terrible people who we're supposed to be convinced are good. They treat each other poorly. They have overly active relationships, shall we say. They intertwine with each other, then they break up, they hurt each other's feelings. There's no real apologies. Seinfeld and the characters on Seinfeld, you know, they are terrible people, but they genuinely or generally get their comeuppance at times. Sometimes not always, and that's part of the humor, but their awfulness doesn't work in their favor like it does on Friends. Because Friends, you kind of just roll your eyes at certain episodes because you're like, in real life, this would have led to cataclysmic consequences. But in Seinfeld, they at least experience those consequences. I think that's what the finale is all about, right? They finally get their comeuppance whenever they are accused of multiple crimes, that they being the main characters of Seinfeld. Now, as for these woke losers on these college campuses, grow up, Buttercup. That's what I have to say. Life is hard. Put on a helmet. Now, listen, I'm all for if you want to. I've participated in college protests, but they were always peaceful. They were always, on the other side of the sidewalk. I've done counter protests at college campuses. That's not the issue. But these spoiled brats, they keep putting up these encampments and trespassing and then demanding food and iPods and all these and earpieces and all of these nonsense. Buy it yourself, you little brat. Who do you think you are? You're there for an education. Get your stuff together. Listen, hearing Jerry Seinfeld isn't going to hurt you. You know what? There are comedians that I think are genuinely funny, like Jerry Seinfeld, like Chrissy Marr, and I will attend their stand up. However, at the moment a comedian I don't like appears, you know what I do? I don't go to his or her show. I know that's so shocking, isn't it? Oh my, not attending the show of a comedian that you don't like? Oh my gosh. What? Mind blown. You know what? If Jerry Seinfeld comes to your city or your college campus and you don't want to see him even though he's a commencement speaker, go have your avocado toast somewhere, cupcake. It's totally fine. Just go. Let me tell you, in the real world, these students won't make it. They'll how on earth are they gonna get a job when people know that they're the ones who were trespassing on campus, who were making demands of the facility, who were taking over buildings? You know, I don't know why the admin or the headmasters or principals or whatever they're the presidents of these universities put up with this nonsense. Suspend them, cut off their scholarships, tell them they're going to automatically fail. Stop catering to these brats. Now, students are there and they are paying the university to get an education. So, yeah, that does mean that the university should cater to them in some way. However, I do not think that they have a right to disrupt other kids, like when taking over the buildings or blocking students of certain ethnic groups into their classes. It's absolutely abhorrent behavior. And good for Jerry Seinfeld for just going on with his speech and delivering it and not putting up with that. Now, at one time, I was always of the impression that Seinfeld was too little, too late when it came out to calling out the woke behavior. However, that was actually I was corrected about that. He's always sort of stood up against woke culture, like Jay Leno, like John Cleese, like Ricky Gervais. They've always been pushing back against this attempt to police comedy because it's quite frankly again, just up to the market. If you don't like their ideas, don't support them. Don't go to a show, pay to get in, and then be disruptive and heckle them. Laugh. If you don't like it, leave. That's all you have to do. It's not rocket scientists. Not everyone is going to cater to your whims, you spoiled little brats. And listen, I might sound harsh, but I'm in my 30s and I'm so over this. Anytime Gen Z wants to get involved into something, or even younger millennials, it it always ends up with you have to gatekeep it, you have to watch out. They want to muscle in and they pretend like they invented it. I am so sick of hearing Gen Z try to tell me that Beware the Batman is better than Batman the Animated Series. No, it's not, Cupcake. I hate to break it to you. Batman the Animated Series is an objectively better show than Beware the Batman. Batman Superman World's Finest, an animated film, is leaps and bounds better than Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice, as if justice didn't exist before this movie. It's absolutely insane that these spoiled brats are going to come in and they're going to boss us around. I have a feeling Gen Z is going to be one of the most unemployable generations because of all this activity, this craziness. Now, like I said, I do believe that certain colleges engage in predatory and scamming activities, such as, oh, charging you hundreds of dollars for your books. Those books are worth $3, some 10 at the most. And, charging outlandish fees like gym fees, like lunch fees, those should all be optional. They shouldn't just be required right off the bat. Charging students for the sports when some don't even attend the games, no, that should be paid for by tickets. And if they can't afford it, and if the alumni wants it, then the alumni should have to pay for it. But stop scamming students and bogging them down in debt in order to do this. Now, I'm not making any statement on debt repayment other than the students need to do it themselves. They're obviously spoiled enough where if someone comes to deliver their commencement speech, they'll just walk right out. Bunch of whiny, woke wankers, as the British say. But good for Jerry Seinfeld for not letting it get him down. Good for him for standing up and speaking truth to power, in this case, with all these little spoiled brats. And good for the students who booed the ones walking out. Good for them. Keep up the good work. You guys and gals, sounds like all of you have a bright future ahead of you. As for Jerry Seinfeld, keep up the good work, man. Hope to see you at more college commencement speeches.
Cause I've been living life right like I could just die